So if you're trying to fit an aftermarket oil pan to a K24, in this case it's a KPower Industries E31, most likely you'll run into these studs which prevent the new oil pan from slipping on, since they tend to have much thicker flanges. The studs are made tricky to extract because they're usually covered in Honda Bond, and they're also very short and thin, and the metal's pretty soft. I couldn't find any stud extractors that fit. Most go down to 1/4 inch, which they say will work for M6, but 1/4 inch is actually 6.35 millimeters, meaning it won't really grab a 6mm stud adequately. Using the double nut method, you'll need a thin wrench due to the short size of the stud, and I found that the nut's actually stripped before the stud will turn. So the best way is with some locking pliers like this and some patience. You'll need a quality pair of locking pliers, which I'll get onto in a moment. Interesting to just look at the cheap ones in comparison. These have got, you can see, slightly better grooves there, whereas this is kind of flat. They look almost identical, but these tension more. Since you're always going to be getting a second-hand transmission, there's a high chance someone's been in here before, and it's kind of clear that someone had a rear main seal leak, potentially even the seal here. So I just pulled that. If you're trying to find a good way to press it in, you can buy some 1 1/4 inch PVC tube, just kind of duct taped it together. Works pretty well as a seal driver to tap it in. So got the transmission cleaned up. There's a lot of like oil and crap in here. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. New input shaft seal behind here. This is a new guide for the release bearing. The old one was looking kind of crappy. Anything that moves is new, basically. So there's a new clutch fork in here, and this pivot point behind is all new as well. This is interesting. This is an AP2 box, but this is an AP1 slave because it doesn't have a clutch delay valve in it. So the trans is pretty much ready to go, other than fluid change, new fill and drain plug and all of that. Engine, I can't remember the last update, but basically we're in a position where all of the accessories are new. Water pump, alternator, tensioner. It's the EP3 pulley on here to delete power steering, all genuine stuff. This is a KPower E30 oil pan. The idea behind this is, in fitting this, it will clear that subframe without modifying anything, which it does. The problem is it fouls on the sway bar, which you can't see because it's been removed. That's a challenge that is currently being worked on. There's a custom pickup and everything under here, which I think you'll have seen before. All new guides, chain, everything in here for the timing. All that I need to do is fit this windage tray. I hadn't put it on at the time because I didn't have any Honda Bond. There's a bolt in here that blocks off an oil squirter that I need to sort. So I'm going to do that, seal this up, seal up the timing chain cover. At that point, be ready to take out this old rear main seal down here. It's going to need doing. Fit the flywheel, get the clutch in, mount these two things together, put it back in that hole. These are the JSP engine mounts that are designed to just accept a standard 86 rubber bush. Easier to see it on this side, there's a bit more light. So this should be hopefully somewhat compliant. There's some adjustability here so you can kind of get it lined up. So if you're going through this swap, there's a high chance you've purchased this Clutchmasters K2F flywheel so that you can fit an S2000 transmission. As most of you will know, you need the B series flywheel bolts. They're a little bit shorter. They drop in just fine, but as you can see, it's pretty tight in there. And so what can happen is when you go to get your 12.17mm socket, it doesn't actually drop in there. You can see it's just sort of resting. It won't actually go in, so there's no way to do up the bolt. If you've watched Jimmy Oakes doing this swap, he takes a lathe and thins out the wall a little bit. Obviously we don't all have access to do that kind of thing, so I just encourage you to try different sockets. I went around a few different stores to see what would fit. This is actually a 3/8 one, so you think it'd be a little smaller. I found this die-hard, actually 1/2 inch socket from Advance. O'Reilly's AutoZone didn't have anything. You can see that this just drops in nicely. So we're only talking about a few mil of clearance, but this seems like the easiest way to get it done.